The Celtics have won 4 in a row. Sam House Money Hauser is the greatest shooter of all time. And Grant Williams suddenly in the starting lineup. And oh yeah, Jayson Tatum is awesome. All of that coming up on First to the Floor.
Who's going to be first to the floor here? And it was Marcus Smart, as he usually is.
Brown drives.
That's not the first time we've seen a superstar in premium white sacrifice his body.
Garnett, knocked away.
Hey everybody, Wayne Spooney here. Ben had to jump out. He was supposed to be on this pod, but he's got a family thing going on, so we wish him the best. I hope everything works out for him. But I am here. The Celtics are making everybody happy, so the good vibes are rolling. Hopefully they continue to good vibes Ben's family situation. But I'm here with Jake Eisenberg. Jake, what's up, my dude?
Mate, feeling good. Vibes are high. It's still sunny in Sydney Friday morning. Got a draw last night in the men's league.
That's possible, huh?
Yeah, we don't do OT until we get to the playoffs.
I love it.
Yeah, we blew a 16-2 lead.
Oh no.
Yeah, but I hit the game tying baseline 16-footer. So got the team two points on the ladder. So we're making a push for the playoffs.
There you go, man. That's a clutch jumper, Jake. The Celtics might be able to use you in some of these interesting fourth quarters they've been having. Speaking of, the Celtics, since we last talked, beat the Memphis Grizzlies and the Detroit Pistons. Let's hit that Memphis game first. And they could have used you in that game because they were in control. And then in the fourth quarter, the Grizzlies sort of in like a bizarre sequence. I don't know if it's me, Jake, but do teams just shoot 100% from three against the Celtics when they're up by like 8-6 in the last 2 minutes of a game? Or am I crazy? It just feels like teams do not miss in that situation.
So I thought the same thing. And then, so that was the day that every single team played. And the NBA needs to do this more often where they stagger the tips 15 minutes apart, because Celtics game ended. And then you basically got to watch the last 5-10 minutes every other game. The Celtics almost collapsed. I flicked to the Mavs-Nets game.
Yep.
Mavs collapse. If KD hits a free throw, they go to OT. The Cavs collapse.
Big time.
Like 14-0 run to win the game. I think am I
the
missing
Heat
one?
collapsed against
yes.
the Blazers. I
That's
actually watched that fourth quarter this morning while I was like drinking my coffee because I am home alone with no wife and kid. And the Heat absolutely, they had a 10-point lead with about 5 minutes left, and they were high-fiving, and Lowry and Butler were doing their like swaggy stuff. And I was like, oh, baby, I know what's about to happen.
Yes.
That was very fun to watch. Actually, that might have been last night now that I think about it. But regardless.
The Portland one? No, the Josh Hart buzzer beater?
Yeah.
So that was the Bonanza night.
That was the Bonanza night. Okay, that's what I thought. So, yeah, that was very enjoyable to watch. But this Grizzlies game was kind of an interesting game. The Grizz are a great team. I would say some people have them as on the Celtics level. I think the Celtics demonstrated another – this is just another check in that the Celtics can win in a variety of different ways. We only made 12 threes. Grant Williams didn't take a shot. Jaylen turned it over a bunch, and Hauser had only 2 shot attempts, but Jayson Tatum had 39. What's your general takeaway from this Grizz game, Jake?
It kind of feels in line with a lot of the other games. Like they felt like the better team throughout the game. They almost pulled away twice, and they honestly did pull away in the end. Our co-host Joe has the magic number system, and we were right on the magic number, which basically means the other team has to play perfect in order to get back in it. And they almost did.
Almost did.
Almost did. It took missing 4 free throws, all of the above. But they feel like the better team almost every single night. And they have, even the Cavs game, the first one, they went up like 16. Everybody's kind of talking about, Cavs are solid. They're going to be good. But, they just don't have the talent to keep up with the Celtics. And we keep doing this thing where we're not putting our foot on the throat of the other team. And that's what it kind of felt like last night. Jaylen had one of those Jaylen games where you were just like banging your head on the table. But he did kind of get it together in the fourth quarter. If I look at his fourth quarter numbers here, he was 2 for 3, still had 2 turnovers, but I think those were early in the quarter. Like he had a few rebounds, like a steal that was clutch, that clear path play. Like he did kind of turn it. He was a +4 in the quarter. He did kind of turn it around. He played all 12 minutes. So did Tatum. Now that I'm looking at it, so Grant. And I think it can be just as simple as Jayson Tatum played 40 minutes, had 39, got himself to the line 16 times, and took the assignment to guard Ja Morant down the stretch. And then Joe Mazzulla's, it wasn't quite clear if that's what was asked, did Jayson Tatum ask to take that assignment? And then Joe says, everybody asked it. It wasn't quite clear if everybody asked if they wanted to guard him or everybody asked Tatum to guard him. But I'm choosing to believe it was everybody asking Tatum to guard Ja, because he's been the best defender on the team so far. And
easily.
Again, easily. And to have that one-on-one block, he's just racking up these highlight blocks against star players in clutch moments. There's a great video up on the First of the Floor socials on a bunch of them this year, blocking Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, Tyler Hero. You commented that was like the weakest little floater Tyler Hero put up, but he's swatting it away no matter where it's coming from.
Tatum had 2 blocks in the game. I think they were both on Ja. And circling back to Jaylen, here's the nice thing about Jaylen Brown. Like, this was a disastrous Jaylen Brown game. 7 turnovers. He still had 21. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, on 40% shooting, bad game. Really, he went 1 of 6 from 3. Had he made 1 or 2 more of those, all of a sudden he's at 24, 27 on a much more efficient shooting night. So while it was a horrible Jaylen Brown game, I think it speaks to where he's at as a player, that his worst games are he's a -6 with 21 points and 9 rebounds. But I think the big story is Jayson Tatum continues to get to the line. He had 16 free throws in that Grizzly game, only 2 turnovers, and he was a +15. No one else was a plus double digits against the Grizzlies. And you're right. Defensively, he just looks so locked in a way that Tatum's always been a smart, efficient defensive player, but he's not been a defensive monster ever. And he's just really, he's bringing the pain on defense, man. Like, he really is. And shout out Al Horford, who had probably his best game this season against the Grizz. He had 15 points, 6 boards, 2 assists. So
Al with rest.
Yeah, exactly. Al with rest. And is that something you think Joe's going to do the rest of the season, to just make sure Al sits those back-to-backs and can stay spry?
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason for him to play back-to-backs. To me, it's pretty obvious that the Celtics are I think it's honestly the Bucks and the Celtics as the best 2 teams in the league right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty clear. So the goal should, every decision should be made with winning the championship in mind. Like, if you lose a couple of games because Al Horford's not playing a back-to-back, or, you keep his minutes down below 33, 32, 31, that's fine.
Perfect.
This team is insanely good on the road anyway. Like, my fiance, she's like, what game we were watching, and they were just like slow out of the gates. I think it was the Pistons game, and they weren't getting the offensive rebounds yesterday. It's like,
no, they were not.
Yeah, it's like, why do they play so much better on the road? And last season in the playoffs, they were an absurdly good road playoff team. So I don't think. Well, of course, you want to be the 1 seed. You want to have play the worst teams, get more home games, etc. The team's just really good on the road. So I'm not too worried about dropping games here and there. If it means that you're going to get a fresh Al Horford. One of Al Horford's best games of his playoff career was in Milwaukee. So, I think keep him fresh. Once Rob comes back, I think, keeping them both in the 24 to 28 range is the move. So Al's just kind of hanging on right now. It feels like Brook Lopez stole his PEDs. Like Brook Lopez.
I know, dude. He's crazy.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know what happened. Is he paying the dealer more than Al is this year? Al's got the contract. Surely he's able to outbid the PED guy. But yeah, I guess that's the difference in Brook was able to get a lot of time at home on the couch. The Celtics went all the way to the final. So that extra rest for guys like that, I think can make a big difference.
Well, and yeah, Brook didn't play most of last season, right? Like Al played an entire season last year. And yeah, the luxury is we can ride Al a little harder right now until Rob gets back. And kind of the sneaky, scary part is Noah Vonleh. This is a horrible – Memphis is a bad matchup for Noah Vonleh. He was a team worst -11 in 8 minutes. And did not take a shot and had 2 rebounds. So not a great game for Noah.
Sure. How many fouls did he have?
He only had 2. Yeah.
2, but in 8 minutes.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's right on cue for his 8 fouls per 36 minutes.
It's ridiculous.
He might be leading the league in something at least. So so the Grizzly game, I think that fourth quarter, those last 2, the Celtics were completely in control with like 2.5 minutes left. And then there was some like goofy stuff going on with them making everything. Like, I'm not really concerned about the end of that game. Maybe I should be, because we've shown that sometimes we can collapse in crunch time. But for the most part, we were always in control. Like that 3-point win, it was more like a 7-8 point win to me. So I'm not too worried about that. But our arch nemesis we played last night, the Detroit Pistons. And this was, I would say, just a professional basketball win. Just like, I'm better than you, Detroit, go to sleep type of win, Jake. So what's your takeaway from the Pistons game?
I shouldn't have been as frustrated as I was with the result. But just early, it was so clear that they were so much better than the Pistons. And there's just the offensive rebounds, like a couple of sloppy plays here and there. I'm like, can we get Tatum down to 28 minutes and Al down to 24? Let's just get out of here. Yeah. And if we did get there eventually, like Al played 26, Tatum 31, Jaylen 30 minutes. But yeah, like Jaylen and Jayson just kind of rolled out of the bed and had 60 points.
Tatum especially did not look like he was really trying until he was in the third quarter.
He didn't roll out of bed till the second half. And no question. Yeah, what did he have in the third quarter? Like 16? Especially, and it was
16 in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. It was the spin on Livers and then the Dirk one-legged fadeaway. It was just like
absurd.
Whatever. So it was kind of similar to the Knicks game in the sense where they were clearly the better team, and Tatum especially, he knows, like, I can get to the rim. That I'm kind of saving that for when I need it. But in games against the Knicks and the Pistons, I'm putting up 10+ threes, getting to my spots, jump shots. And if they're not falling, I know I've got all these other things in my bag. But yeah, he's just like, I'm just going to shoot over the top of you guys. I'm convinced that the work that he did with KD is giving him a little confidence just to pull up right in the guy's face. Yeah. Because I always was like, no one's blocking your shot unless KD or you're a clone of yourself are on the other side of the court. Yeah. I'm loving some of the off-ball stuff, man. I think Joe's done a really...
about to talk about, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Joe's doing a really good job with a lot of like the actions with getting people off ball and using Tatum's gravity for other guys. But yeah,
and if you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing some Tatum be real as we're talking here. And actually, so per NBA.com, Tatum finished, right? So he has to take a shot when he cuts for this stat to matter. He finished 1 cut a game last year, right? Okay. He's at 2 a game this year, which doesn't sound like a lot more, but it really is. Like, I mean, he's doubling the amount of cuts he's finishing, but you got to think about like every 3 cuts you make, maybe you get 1 pass where you can shoot. You know what I mean? So he's cutting double the amount off ball, which is a huge development for him. And I wonder if playing against Curry got him thinking, like, I need to be more active off ball, because it really seems like he has made that something he's focusing on this year.
Well, I don't know how you can participate in that finals and not come away being like, this guy is unstoppable without the ball.
Yeah.
Like, he's putting as much pressure on us with the ball as he is without the ball. And Tatum...
Sometimes more without the ball.
Yeah. Oh. It's because at least if he's got the ball, you can kind of hand.
You know where he is.
Yeah, you know where he is.
Right?
It's nuts. And
you can bring help when he's got the ball, you know. And it's
exactly.
like, now we're not worried about Steph Curry off ball.
Yeah, and especially when you get you can lock in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, but he's giving you 40 minutes of just nonstop movement. Like, it's eventually you're gonna lose him. I think that's definitely something that he's definitely clearly worked on it. Whether or not that's because of Steph Curry, I would be surprised if it's. I would love to get someone to ask him about that, because I bet you it's definitely something that he's thought about.
Yeah, and I wonder if part of it's Joe, because I think there's some of our favorite Twitter follows like Knight, Adam Taylor, and some other folks have been documenting some of Joe Mazzulla's plays.
Yep.
And the man seems like he is like bordering on offensive genius here, because some of these actions are just so beautiful. And a lot of what they're doing is getting Tatum in actions off ball to get easy buckets. And I feel like, I don't know about you, Jake, but do you feel like there's a lot of times in these games where it's like, man, Tatum hasn't done much, and then you look and he's like, oh, he's got 25 in the third quarter?
It seems so much easier than ever before.
Yeah.
It's like,
exactly.
It gets a little stagnant. You're like, okay, now it's time to get Tatum the ball a little bit. But yeah, he's rolling out of bed and getting 25.
He's
30,
averaging
35.
32 points a game.
It's. I know, and we're talking. I feel like we've talked so much about Tatum, but it's like, I don't understand how you can't when he was already so good, and he's made a clear leap so far.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and how you win a title is with your best player being a clear-cut top 5 MVP candidate, not just like fringy, conversation. Like, right now, it's Giannis, Luka, and Tatum like, as the legitimate MVP candidates, best players in the league. I personally think that it's Tatum over Luka because of the defense, and the offensive gap, even if you give the edge to Luka, is not huge. So that's like it's the conversation has to start and end with him, because the team kind of goes with him, and you see it with the plus minus, all the advanced stuff. Even throughout his whole career, he's been really good with that stuff. But now that the fact that he always surrounded him with a really high level roster is just rising tide, all boats.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. And the Celtics big three of Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, who had a very efficient 30-piece of his own, and Sam Hauser, who had a career high 24. So, dude, this Hauser thing is real, huh?
I'm playing I've got like 30 seconds of Hauser highlights if you're watching on the YouTube as well. I was going to say money. He is house money.
He's house money, baby.
I've never experienced a player. None of the other players on the Celtics in my life, outside maybe Ray Allen's the last guy, where every time Hauser shoots the ball, I am shocked if it doesn't go in.
Yeah.
Even like Tatum, Jaylen, I'm like, yeah, great shot to take. But Hauser, it's like,
it's dude. Legit, you are so right. If it doesn't go in, I'm like, I can't believe Hauser missed that open three.
Yeah. And on a couple of those highlights there, I think, as the league and the scouting reports start to catch up to literally one of the best shooters in the league, there's going to be more gravity, as we kind of saw last night, as he was, just scorching, a little bit of extra pressure. And we talked about in the offseason, he seems to be pretty smart off ball. He's using that gravity and making very simple backdoor cuts, guys setting screens for him to use the gravity to shoot. And if they overplay it, bang. like open layups. Little floater last night as well.
Oh, baby.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's become like one of the most valuable role players kind of in the league now. Like as like an 8th, 9th man. Like it's these leads. The bench, the starters only have to tie. And the bench comes in and Hauser just has 9 points like in the first
immediately.
He's out
it's
there
like
instantly.
so fast.
It's like, oh man, we survived the Jayson, Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart group with a 4-point deficit. Oh shit, now we're down 14.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Jesus Moses.
And Jake, so do you know who leads the league in spot up play efficiency?
Oh, it's a house money.
It's Sam Hauser. Do you know who's 3rd in the league in spot up efficiency?
Oh,
Another member of our bench.
Oh, Malcolm. No, is it Malcolm?
Mm-mm.
Grant, of course.
Grant Williams.
Yeah.
Tatum, 79th percentile in spot up efficiency. Horford, 87th percentile. Derek White, 70th percentile. Jaylen Brown, 78th percentile. So Ben described Malcolm Brogdon's dribble moves as like a machine gun, which I think was spot on. But this team is like a machine gun, dude. Like they are just letting it fly from all over. It is so, this is the most fun to watch Celtics team since Isaiah Thomas was like the king in the fourth, man. Like they're flying up and down the court. They're like driving, kicking. They're running all these super complicated actions that Missoula's implemented. And guess what? We're the best offense. We've got the best true shooting percentage in the league. And we're pretty solid. You know, we're not turning it over that much. So we're taking the most threes. I believe we have the highest percentage of our points coming from three. And we're 6th in field goal percentage off drives because you've got all that spacing, right? So once you actually get into the lane, there's not help, because if you help off Sam Hauser or Grant Williams or Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown or Derek White now or Al Horford, our center, it's just going to be 3 points. So one thing I want to pose to you, Jake, do you have any concerns that obviously the 3-point shooting is going to cool down a little bit because like these dudes are shooting 50% from three. But do you have any concerns like this could, you know, if we go super cold, do you think this team could go super cold for like a month and this can sink us?
As you were speaking, I could just hear my dad in my head being like, live by the 3, die by the 3.
Exactly
right. So yeah, I think you need to have different ways to do it. Like I've said it before, this should be a team that shoots near the top of the league in 3-point shooting, because even before the season, Tatum, great shooter, Jaylen Brown, great shooter, Al Horford, great shooter, Grant already led the league in corner threes last year. We were pretty fucking sure that Hauser was an elite 3-point shooter, and he's even better than we could have hoped.
Yep.
Malcolm Brogdon, career 39, 40%
very
three-point
good
shooter. So all of those guys, the only ones that weren't great 3-point shooters that are playing a lot of minutes are Derek and Marcus. And even Derek clearly we'll see how sustainable the Derek White stuff is, but even checking it again today, he's back up to 50% after a game or two.
His shot looks, he's so repeatable now. Like his release point was really inconsistent last year. That is not the case anymore. So I'm buying the Derek White improvement.
And even if it's, you know, somewhere in between where he was before and where he is now, that's fine. Even before, like last season, I think it was fit, confidence, comfortability, as well as the mechanics. And because like with San Antonio, I think he was like 31, 32%. Even if he's at 33%, that's enough for teams to still have to play you guys. And then on the flip side, okay, it's game 5 against Milwaukee, where it's tied, the threes aren't going in. This team has guys that can get to the rim. Part of the issue with the playoff run last year was it was Jaylen and Jayson are the only 2 guys that like, and Derek a little bit, but like this team now is kind of stocked full of guys that can really get to the rim. And Malcolm Brogdon being the biggest difference in that. And I think it's just having the option, and Tatum showing it to us with the different ways that he's playing it. One game he's getting to the line 20 times. The next time it's 14 threes. The next game it's 16 attempts at the line again. It's having the ability to flip and change your approach throughout a playoff series or within a specific game. And I think that these guys have that ability. Even Grant showing, more off the bounce chops. So yes, they should be shooting a lot of threes, but when you're the Houston Rockets or the Boston Celtics in those conference finals, when the threes weren't going down, can you adjust? Can you find ways to get to the rim and generate easy points? And that's not even mentioning Rob. And then he's good for 8 to 12 easy buckets a game, points a game, I should say.
Or he opens up even more wide open threes because you don't want him to get the 10, 12 easy points. So, yeah, I think in a 7-game series, I would bet my money on 4 of those games. The threes are going to be falling. And yeah, to your point, Jake, even if they're not, the way Brogdon increases the Celtics just off the dribble pop, and Derek White, like he's good at getting into the paint. He's very shifty. He had a gorgeous play last night against the Pistons where he like pump fake, took somebody off the dribble, kicked it to Hauser for a wide open 3 because the defense collapsed. So D White can do all that stuff too, just at a lower level than the Jays and Malcolm Brogdon, and Smart too, man. Yeah. Like he can get into the paint a little bit too, and his finishing is at a different level nowadays than it was 3 or 4 years ago. So one big change we've seen in the last couple of games is that Grant Williams has been inserted into the starting lineup. So Grant has kind of in the starting lineup, I think his usage is down. Like I said, he had 0 shots against Memphis, but that lineup is killing people plus 10.5 in those games where he starts. And overall last year, when it was Smart, Brown, Tatum, Grant, and Horford, that lineup was a minus 8.5. This year, they're up to a plus 3.8. So that's a huge swing. For whatever reason, last year, that lineup just never played well. And now this year, it seems like they figured it out some, maybe partly because Tatum's just been such a monster. Teams seem to be closing out on Grant and taking away the shot. But I don't know about you, Jake. That's kind of a good thing because then it just opens it up for the Jays. So how you been feeling about Grant being inserted in the starting lineup instead of D White?
Yeah, we haven't really got a good explanation on why that is from Joe yet, and I don't think we will.
Nope.
But yeah, it's a little early, I think, for us to really put our finger on it. The Memphis game, I didn't really mind at all that he didn't take a shot because he was so good on the defensive end, and that's why I was calling for more Grant. Was the defense has been a bit of an issue. I think as good as Derek White is on defense, you're just lacking a little bit of size. And he helps.
And on the glass, too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so that has definitely been shored up, even though, I mean, yesterday, like how many fingertips did he get? I wish Grant was just a quarter of an inch taller. I swear, like he's just quarter of an inch. It's all he needs, and he's like so much better. But yeah, the shots thing, I feel like this happened last year. A couple of times he got starts. It's like, where are the open shots coming from? And I think that makes sense. You're playing against bench units that aren't quite as good as the starters. You're not going to get as many open shots. Part of it is the scouting report probably says
definitely
Grant Williams, as it should. I'm not too sure. I don't feel super confident in why or why not he's getting the shots right now. Outside of just he's getting more attention. I'm excited to see him try to expand his kind of off the bounce game that we've seen in the preseason and through the first 10 games here. Now that he knows that the closeouts are coming. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's really what it is. I think he's getting more defensive attention. And I think the good thing about a guy like Grant is he has shown that if they close out really hard on him, he will pump and go and can at least do something okay, like not bad. Right. It's not going to be a disaster. That's not a bad possession if Grant Williams is like pump, day jump, and he's getting to the rim. Like he might do something dumb. He might miss the shot, but it's going
to look bad, but it's not necessarily going to be bad.
Exactly. It's not going to be pretty, but it might be effective is all that matters. So if basically they're just sticking somebody on him and we get to play 4-on-4 with that starting lineup with Al Horford picking pops and the Jays and Marcus Smart, that's a huge win for us because then we also get to take advantage of what you were alluding to. Like Grant is an incredible defensive player, and he's not a great rebounder, but he's a hell of a lot better of a rebounder than Derek White. And you saw at times like Isaiah Stewart is a beast on the glass, dude. And there were times where Tatum was matched up on him, and Stewart was just like, I'm just going to bang on you because I know you don't want it in game 10 of the or 11 of the NBA season. Yeah, against the Pistons. You're up 11 or 12. Yeah. Like Tatum's like, all right, dude, just take a layup. I
just want to take my pretty step back, man. You all yours.
Yeah. And then he roasted him on the other end too. But that's the nice thing about Grant is it takes some of those miles off of Tatum. Yeah. Guarding like a 4 or a 5 in the starting lineup. So I'm totally fine with it. I think when the season started, we were talking about potential starting lineups, and I think I was saying that I think we should start Grant. So he's been fine. He has not been great, but he's definitely not been bad. And he's just playing his role.
Yeah, I think if the offense is still looking like the best offense in the league, then that's fine. Yeah. I think that's a really good point. The fact that people are closing out on him and hugging closer, that was almost like the issue with last year, was that he was so wide open. He was getting all these shots. Teams weren't playing him like he was an elite shooter, which was just leaving the lane still clogged for Jaylen and Jayson. But now it's opening up. Even if he's not shooting, he has that gravity. Right. That's the win.
I wonder if it was that Milwaukee game 7, man, where it was like 18 threes is a lot of threes. Yeah. And you just got to show that, you know, even if you shoot a high percentage on like 3-4 a game, like it's a much different way to play basketball when you're taking 18 of them. And I bet you that is sticking in some coaches' minds, but we've gone far too long without talking. We talked about him briefly.
Yeah.
Is Marcus Smart back?
Man.
34 assists, 4 turnovers in the last 3 games, averaging 10 and 11. With 1.3 turnovers in the last 3. And, you know, we were getting killed with Smart on the floor in these, you know, first 7 games, but first 8 games, but these last 3, we've been more productive with Smart and Brogdon off. And for some reason, NBA.com has him second in the DPOY rankings. I don't think that's right, but, you know, he's whatever.
I did see that.
Does not make sense.
Not at all. Not at all. I guess but the defensive awards are just so reputation based because you can't look at the numbers for defense. He's been incredible. Like if you could make the most insanely beautiful and sexy highlight reel. I think actually Ben did make a beautiful sexy highlight reel of Marcus Smart's sexy passes. Check that out on the YouTube. This is the perfect Marcus Smart offensively. This is what you want. Like last 3 games, he's taking 8.7 field goals. That's perfect.
Yep.
Like the fact that facilitating Marcus. We're getting more Tatum Smart pick and roll. During the live stream of the Memphis game, we got Smart on the pick and roll, and it was on the pick and roll, and he's just perfect in that short roll to get him into those spaces where he's the decision maker. He's the best on the team at making those decisions. No doubt. Yeah, best passer, best decision maker off the roll. He's the point guard of this team, and it's been great to see him over the past 3 games. Feel like he, heard the criticism. Maybe he just feels a little healthier. But he seems to be locked in on getting this offense moving, getting everybody in their spots, finding Hauser. When Tatum's cooking, he's even getting Jaylen. Actually, there was like when he was cooking in the it's hard to place which game it was.
It was the third quarter of the Pistons game. Yeah, he was like, "Get out of here, Jaylen. I'm going to Tatum." Yep,
exactly. And that's what you want. You want the guy, the table setter, the fucking true point guard that everybody's been complaining that we don't have. He's been playing like it. It's beautiful.
And the more I see him play like this, the more I think he took that knock in Montreal against Toronto, and that I really think that was probably affecting him because he does look just like a different guy out there. And you said, great point. He's been awesome as the pick setter in pick and roll. He's been even better as the pick and roll ball handler. He's in the 99th percentile in efficiency as a pick and roll ball handler, and his assist percentage is up from 24.4% last year to 28.8. And once you start getting into those 30% assist percentage, I mean, that is like Rondo type stuff, man. Like he is just playing so well. I do think defensively, he's starting to look a lot better. Yeah, he's getting there. Exactly. He's not what he was last year when he was just absolutely absurd. And I will go to war with anyone who says he didn't deserve the DPOY. You do not watch the Celtics.
Yeah.
If you think he didn't deserve the Defensive Player of the Year last year, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no question. And I think, this is now his second year as the starting point guard of the Boston Celtics. Smart's not going to get more athletic and necessarily, I don't know, things to his bag, etc. at this point in his career, but the fact that he's only been the true point guard and given the keys to the offense for a season and a bit now. It wouldn't shock me if he gets more and more comfortable over this season and hopefully for the next 3, 4, 5 seasons, and just turns into just above Chris Paul essentially. Beautiful.
Yeah, no, and it's been a perfect development. At the time, the timing has been perfect is what I'm trying to say, because there's two things recently that have got me a little worried, Jake.
Okay.
A little worried. Malcolm Brogdon sat out the second half of this Pistons game, and it's just come out he's not playing on Friday because of hamstring soreness. And I don't know what the hell Jayson Tatum's wearing on his wrist, but he's got something on his left wrist, and I think that's what he was dealing with in the playoffs as well. So how concerned are you, one, with the Brogdon injury, and two, with the Tatum injury?
I guess this is why you don't trade Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, look, Brogdon, any injury after that word, you're going to be a little bit worried. And this was what was baked in. This is why we got him for not a lot.
Right.
It's because he's been injury prone. The good news is it's happening now. You can get the hamstring under control. Hamstrings are not, they can be tricky. Hopefully it's
recurring.
You can come back and it's fine. But yeah, I'm more worried than not.
Fair. Yeah, same.
It's not good. But you didn't really see any. It didn't seem like it was going to be a pull, or like pulled off the bone, or like a massive tear or anything like that. That's not the word I'm looking for. Just a strain. I wish that Joe would just say something about precautionary, but no one said that word yet, which has me a little concerned. Yeah. The good news is, right, like Derek White, durable guy. He's good to play 35 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Like the depth of this team is legit. Like you lose Rob, you lose Brogdon for a few games here as well. I'm still very confident in this team's ability to rack up wins. Peyton Pritchard, I think, will be better. I thought he was pretty shaky yesterday, but I can understand that because Brogdon came into the game healthy. Peyton's just not expecting to play.
Right.
And you can tell yourself, stay ready. But 10 games into the season, he had maybe
hasn't
one
really
game,
played. Yeah.
One game where he played meaningful minutes, and even then it was like 2 or 3. I think this game, he would have gone home tonight and be like, you weren't ready. I'm sure he got some shots up. He's going to be more mentally locked in and ready to play some more minutes. So I feel comfortable with Pritchard playing 10, 15 minutes. I'm a big believer in Peyton Pritchard, at least as a regular season player, man. And the one thing I'll say about him is he was fighting his ass off on the boards. He was boxing people out. He had that nice where he like snuck out for that fast break that Tatum hit him with a incredible bounce pass for the layup against the Pistons. And really he missed the 2 threes that he was wide open for. But yeah, I'm with you, dude. I have no concerns with Peyton Pritchard playing, and I think that's probably why we haven't seen him traded yet. It'll be interesting to see once the Gallo contract is tradable if we include Pritchard, but I almost think other teams might be like, just give me a second or two instead of Peyton Pritchard. So we'll see about that. But for now, look, we've got Pritchard, Derek White.
great player, Marcus Smart. Like, we're good. We're fine on that. I'm not super worried about Tatum's wrist. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I watched his little post-game interview yesterday, and he obviously got asked about it. And it doesn't sound like it's the same injury as the playoff run. It's a different, which I don't know. He's a good. I'm not sure. It's a different injury. We're managing it. Was basically what he said. It's gonna be giving me some discomfort. You can't really tell if it is giving him any discomfort at this point. It does, like, I know he had the wrist thing and the shoulder thing in the playoffs. I'm more and more convinced that it was a mental fatigue as much as it was a physical fatigue for Tatum in the playoffs. Cat bingo, person before bingo, Vinny's cat.
My cat.
Yeah. The mental fatigue, was as much a part of the physical side of things. Like, he was still defending his ass off in the finals, playing 40+ minutes. Like, he had kind of the fitness to get.
And he was getting to the rim, he just couldn't finish.
Couldn't finish to save his life.
Yeah.
We'll start to get worried if that starts to become a problem again. I mean, we know he's not a great finisher or like finishing with his left hand anyway. I'm not sure if he's favoring that more now. He probably is. Haven't really noticed.
Me either.
In particular,
he hasn't like needed to.
Yeah. So yeah, if he doesn't need his left hand, doesn't need his left hand. So just something to keep our eye on. But it's just the reality of the NBA is a lot of these guys are kind of dealing with little nicks and bruises. And we're blessed by the basketball gods, touching wood, that Tatum just is one of the most underratedly tough guys in the league. Like, he just plays through stuff.
Everything,
yeah.
dude. And it's unbelievable. And I think that's something that's underrated about his value to a team. If you're talking about like MVP stuff, is he just plays, man. Look at this disaster in LA with Kawhi. Like, Jesus. He played like a game and a half and now he's already back out and there's no timeline for his return. Like, that's just horrible, man. And just never have to worry about that with Jayson Tatum, dude. It's like, he can't use his left hand. He's just going to go for 39 and 30.
Granted, I think all of the Celtics world freaked out when he was on the ground in that Memphis game. Like, I just had a shock of heat run through my body, but then I was just like, I'll be right. Tatum's always fine.
He was like, in the post game, he's like, I'm fine. Like, all right, cool.
He's like, I was just kind of scared. And I was like, me too.
Yeah. And then he comes out with like 30 the next game. Like, okay, I guess he's fine.
Sick.
All right, before we get out of here, Jake, I've got a couple things I want to get to. First, who would you rather have? Sam House Money Slim Gaffigan, aka Sammy Buckets, who shot 50% from three against the Pistons, and it lowered his 3-point percentage. Or a healthy Gallinari. Who you taking? One word.
Yeah, it's House Money.
House Money.
That's an easy one.
All right, House Money or Ben Simmons.
Mate, it's the house party. We're filling up.
It's fucking House Money,
that's
baby.
Not close either, honestly. That's not close either.
Okay. Third, Bradley Beal.
Are we doing contracts?
Assume we have to give up at least a significant portion of the team for Bradley Beal.
Oh, well then.
Including House Money.
Yeah, no. It's a no-brainer.
Give me Sam.
Have Hauser.
All right. Tyler Hero.
Oh, if they were both getting paid $2 million, Hauser fits on this team infinitely better than Hero would, and it's not even close, really. Yeah.
Look, Hauser's not a good defensive player, but Tyler Hero is an absolute disaster defensive player. Like, he is bad. So I think in a vacuum, Tyler Hero is a much better player. But if I need someone to just come in, make some threes, and not get completely obliterated defensively, give me Sam Hauser.
Yes, sir. Easy, yeah. I'm sure everybody around the NBA agrees with all those answers too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all right. So we're homering a little bit. Whatever. We're 1-4 straight. We can do this,
fun.
right? Yeah. All right. Before we get out of here, Jake, your specialty. You know that we like to check in on some of our biggest rivals in the Schadenfreude report. So, Jake, what do you got for us this evening? Or morning for you?
Oh boy, It is not looking good out in La La Land.
Nope.
Jeez.
The Lakers.
Oh,
A lot
boy.
of L's.
What are they on up to now? 2-9?
2-9.
Dude.
They're shooting under 30% from three as a team.
It could not be going worse.
No,
It could not be going worse.
be.
Like, if you were to tell Lakers fans that Russell Westbrook has embraced a six-man role and is thriving in that six-man role, they'd be like, oh, okay, we're at least a
500
a playoff
at
team,
worst.
top six, maybe
Yeah.
fringe play-in. No, sir. The Pelicans might get Wembanyama because you're that bad.
Yeah. Doesn't it feel so good?
Oh my! I mean, it's incredible. It does kind of terrify me that there's going to be a team with Wembanyama, Zion, and Ingram out there. But that's fine.
Yeah.
Wembanyama's no Jayson Tatum.
No, exactly. Neither is Zion. Zion's actually not been great this year. Sneaky.
He's been okay considering he didn't play last year, but the defense is a mess. But I mean, every day, like LeBron's on the I got to learn how to flop train last night. The reporter's like things
He's
aren't
hurt.
going well. He's hurt. Well, the Father Time commercials are kind of ironic because he's been injured 2 years in a row, and this would be 3 in a row where he just didn't miss games before, and now he's just missing stuff that he wouldn't miss time for before,
Right.
like little foot things, whatever it may be. That just wouldn't happen before, and the fact that if he's not playing 70 plus games, like this team is awful, awful. So bad.
Pat Bev can't make a layup, dude. He missed like at least one real bad layup the other night. I mean, it was something I probably would have finished. No, but I like to think I would have finished it. They're just bad. They're counting on Austin Reeves to play 30 minutes a night, which is absolutely. I'm not even sure he played 30 minutes a night for Oklahoma when he was playing in the Big 12.
Dennis Schroeder and Thomas Bryant. That's
They're not
their
going to
last
stay.
hope.
Yeah,
That's their hope
yeah.
at this point.
And the Sixers are continually a disaster. So
I feel like they've righted the ship, kind of. What are they at right now? Like
with Embiid hurt, isn't that kind of a concern?
Harden's the one out right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, Embiid came back. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
All
well, no,
right,
but
I
it's
didn't
still
realize.
and that's been the thing, is that when Harden kind of goes out, you get a little bit more maxi, you get a little bit more pace,
Yeah,
a little bit more
more
defense.
Melton. I'm a big fan of Melton.
And so they beat the Suns the other day, which kind of, to me, it feels like they've kind of settled in a little bit.
They're still 5-6 though.
Yeah, I know. Well, this is the thing. Like, people say don't pay attention to the standings early in the season, but like these wins matter when they're going to be teams that are really good, like the Celtics, Bucks, and the Cavs. So
Atlanta too, dude. Don't sleep on Atlanta. They're
well, speaking
good.
of Atlanta, so last night, I came home from basketball. I'm always just like buzzing. I can never sleep afterwards. So
Yeah.
I avoided the scores all day. I watched the Jazz and the Hawks because that's kind of what I try and do. I try and just like watch all the Eastern Conference rivals and match up with some of the fun teams. I hadn't actually sat down and watched a proper Jazz game yet.
I have not yet.
They are so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm in love with Walker Kessler.
Walker Kessler. Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, he would be so good on the Celtics. He's incredible. The parallels between like the early Brad Stevens era and what's happening in the Jazz right now.
They remind me so much of that team where
Yeah.
when we traded for Isaiah and Jay Crowder mid-season, and we were like 15 games under 500 and ended 40-42. Like, it is the same thing, dude.
No
if
question.
we just started with that team, that's what the Jazz are doing.
And Kelly Olynyk's there again.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same, man.
They're solid. They went up early. Hawks came back, took the lead. But then the Jazz blew them off the court. And so, like, now the Celtics have the lead on the Hawks. Watching the Hawks, I just don't see any issues with matching up with them in the playoffs. Like,
Trey scares me, dude. I don't know, man. He's really hard. Like, if you switch against Trey, he will. Well, unless we have Rob. As long as we have Rob, I'm not concerned about the Hawks.
right.
But
Yeah. Look, he's incredible. But I just think on the other end in a playoff series, like he is still so bad on defense. Like,
so bad.
He gives it straight up on the other end. I think over a playoff, I just not worried about. And even DeJounte Murray, who's awesome, still another small guy. The Raps have lost Siakam and now Precious Achua now, indefinitely for Achua. That's like, I'm not happy about that, but that's just like something that's going on there. The Cavs now are mortal. They've lost 2 in a row. I watched that game as well last night. The Kings, Cavs.
I watched a good amount of that game too, man. The Kings were turning them over a lot. It seemed like they kind of figured something out.
Cavs, I mean, the Kings got unlucky in like their first 4 games. Like they went 0-4, but they lost all close
and Murray
games.
Didn't play for a couple of those games too, and he's really good, man.
Yeah,
even
and they
for
lost
a rookie.
to the Warriors on a bullshit call that Herder got fouled and.
He got murdered by Klay Thompson.
That was
murdered,
atrocious.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Cavs are definitely mortal. And I think that those 2 games we played against them, like.
Look, Karis LeVert doesn't have his best game, second best game of his career, because the best game was against us when he had 50. But
I hate watching the Cavs because it involves watching Karis LeVert not be the best player in the league, and I'm like, why?
What is happening?
What is going on? But yeah, and the Nets,
they're
KD's
kind of all right without Kyrie.
KD's averaging like a 30-point triple-double since Kyrie went out.
Yeah.
So if he's going to do that, then go for your life. But
I don't think that's sustainable, but they've righted the ship themselves a little bit. So, all right, before we get out of here, Jake, we're playing the Nuggets tomorrow night on Freedom Time. I guess tomorrow morning for you all.
Yeah, 12 o'clock.
Yeah, the Nuggets, 5th best offense. They're the league best effective field goal percentage. Obviously, they've got Jokic, who's the reigning MVP. Jamal Murray's back now. Michael Porter Jr.'s back now. But we've kind of owned them. We've won our last 5 against the Nugs. So what do you think? How is this one going to play out?
I might have to. I've been working on a Rob video where it's just highlights of Rob, but like set to I Miss You by Blink-182.
Nice.
This feels like it could be one of those games.
Yeah.
But we do have the Dark Knight Batman, famously an excellent Jokic defender. So, Grant's going to be starting again. This would shock me if he's not starting in a game where Jokic, who he's famously done really well against. Look, take the over, man. Like these 2 offenses going head to head. It could be an awesome game. I mean, I love watching Jokic.
I think it's going to be a fun one.
I'm already seeing Jaylen getting lost off ball on Bruce Brown and Aaron Gordon because they're really good off ball, and Jokic is really good at finding little cracks.
They're probably the best, maybe ever, top 5 ever at finding off ball cutters for sure.
Yeah. But on the other side, they've got plenty of spaces to attack, including Jokic, Michael Porter Jr.,
Murray.
Yeah. So Bones Highland. It's too bad Brogdon's going to be out, but
he would crush their bench, dude. Their bench is struggling too, man. He would kill them.
I feel very confident. Like the game where we rested in the preseason, we rested everybody against the Hornets, except for like Derek White and the bench, and Derek White looked like
awesome.
I don't know, Chris Paul, Pete Kyle Lowry. It was just like, if he's the guy leading the bench and just cooking Bones Highland and crew, that could be really fun. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. All right. I'm predicting a win, man. I don't know about you.
Right. Man, I mean, why not? Is it at home or is it in?
We're at home. We're at home.
Okay. All right. Man, we got a good little stretch here. And then is the Pistons at home or do we go on the road?
I'm not sure about that. What is that? That's Saturday, right? It's back to back.
It's a back to back.
It looks like we are in Detroit.
Okay. It would be really good to get the win against Denver then, because back to back flying up to Detroit.
Yeah, and the Pistons are due for a good game against us.
Even yesterday, the Celtics were kind of begging the Pistons to hang around.
Cade missed a lot of makeable shots. He missed a lot of shots. But then Killian Hayes made a lot of shots he doesn't.
Oh my God, that was literally the best game of his career. So,
yeah, no doubt.
So, look, no reason we can't win tomorrow. I would love to get a 5-game winning streak going. That'd be fantastic.
Feels good. 5 just feels so much better than 4. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Please, if you have not already or you're listening to the podcast audio, please subscribe to our YouTube. We are so close to being able to get that 1K and monetizing it. We really appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the audio pod, subscribe there. We've got a TikTok, we've got an Instagram, and of course, we've got the Twitter. So, Jake, thanks so much, man. This was awesome.
Cheers, mate.
All right. First to the floor. We're out.